Hey up everyone, Magpie9901 here, and in this video we're just taking a look at Ghost Recon Wildlands. This is in open beta currently across all major platforms. A few weeks ago I played the closed beta and I have to say that I wasn't impressed with the graphics, as wasn't a lot of people. There were optimization issues that were quite severe. One of the problems I had was that the FPS, I couldn't drag it above 45. I think the maximum I saw at any one time of playing the game was 50 FPS. And that was disappointing for me because whilst I wasn't hugely looking forward to this game, it was probably a game that I would have bought to play. I like the look of it. It reminds me of Far Cry. I mean, it is this huge map. You have to unlock parts of the map by doing certain missions, and you've got this, I don't know, it's becoming a bit of a cliche now, the radio tower syndrome. You know, in Far Cry you open a radio tower and it opens as part of the map, and etc, unlocks new side missions, and this is basically the same but wrapped up in a Ghost Recon skin. I played the beta and I didn't actually mind it. Whilst it's nothing spectacular, it doesn't bring anything massively new to the genre, but it is pretty good. You know, it's quite a good game if you're playing with friends. I've watched quite a few videos such as Jack Frags and that, is playing alongside his friends, and yeah, you probably have fun that way. I think playing it on your own, whilst it still be fun, it's maybe not as fun as what they intend it to be. But anyway, I did some benchmarks today in this open beta, and what I've done is I've kept my graphics settings exactly the same for these benchmarks. The only things that I have changed are the resolutions. I've used 2K resolution 1440p, and I have used Full HD 1080 resolution, and I have also used the last two game ready drivers from NVidia. So on the first set of benchmarks, which you'll see on the screen right now, we are running on the drivers 378.49, and in 2K resolution we get 56.03 FPS average, which is actually an improvement on the closed beta. Now, I never run benchmarks in that, but for the most part I could never get it above 50 FPS, and that was in, even when there wasn't a lot going on the screen, it was struggling. When you had a lot going on the screen, it was dropping down to 40, maybe even 35. Very, very jerky on the PC, so that to me seems like a little bit of an improvement. Then I did a Full HD 1080p benchmark, and I got 73.35 average FPS on that, which is a good leap from 2K, so I was quite impressed with that. Then we moved on to the drivers 378.66, which are the latest drivers out from NVidia, and we got slightly less results on this, although it's really nothing to write home about. On 2K resolution we've done 55.86, and on 1080p resolution we've done 73.17, so slightly down on the older drivers. I also noticed in the benchmarks that the graphics card was slightly hotter, a couple of degrees hotter. Is that because it's a new graphics driver, or is that simply because it was warmed up from the previous benchmarks? I'm not too sure. Doesn't really make a difference though, as the card is adequately cooled anyway. But yeah, not a great deal of difference in those. What's interesting to me though is that the 1080p is probably what I would play this game at if I were to play it. I'm obviously going to play this open beta, so I'm going to try it at 2K, see what it plays like, see if it's jerky or smooth. I've got a feeling that it's just going to be very jerky, so I'm most likely going to drop my settings down to 1080p. Now for me that's no hardship, you know, I'm still going to get a really good experience. I'm still going to be getting better visuals than those people that are playing it on the console. But why am I having to drop down from 2K resolution? And when I play Battlefield 1, it's that, for me, the Frostbite engine is so well optimized for the PC that it's unreal. You know, the amount of detail that you get on the screen, the amount of information that's displayed on the screen, and it runs at a solid 80 FPS all of the time, you know, and it goes higher when there's less going on the screen. So for this game, obviously it's a different engine. Is it that it isn't optimized enough, or is it, as what I think it could be overall, is that we're just now reaching that tipping point where a 980 Ti just can't crunch things at very high settings in higher resolutions. And I've had this card for 1.5 years now, and 1.5 years ago it ate anything I threw at it at high settings, 2K resolution. But now I'm starting to see that certain games I'm having to drop things down a little bit to get the best out of them. And yeah, it's most likely due to some optimization issues within the game. It's still not fully optimized. I mean, it hasn't been released yet, so there will still be work to do on it. But I do think that I've now reached that tipping point where the 980 Ti is looking old. It's getting on now, and it may be time for an upgrade. What that upgrade will be, I don't know, and when it will be, I also don't know. I don't think it'll be anytime soon, as money's quite tight at the moment. So, you know, if I was to upgrade, personally, I'd hold out for a 1080 Ti, because I know that that will see me through for quite some time. This 980 Ti will, as long as I'm willing to now accept that I'm going to have to lower settings, and I'm maybe going to have to play in a different resolution. And usually when you get to that point, that's when it is time for an upgrade. So, and I suppose to people that play on consoles, I'm probably whining a bit and maybe carrying on. You know, I'm still getting awesome visuals, I'm still getting good FPS, but I'm a PC junkie, and I like to have fidelity, and I like to have good graphics, and when I don't get them, yeah, it might sound like I'm whining a bit, but when you spend all the money that we spend on these kind of things, you like to get good visuals, and when you don't get them, you have to look at what's going wrong. And for me now, I think there is still optimization issues within Ghost Recon Wildlands, but also I'm now at that point where this card is just, it's dragging its feet a little bit now, you know. It's got a little bit fat, it doesn't move as much as it used to. So, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments or questions, post them in the comment sections down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.